I'm really excited about this episode, y'all, because I get to talk about sex. That's exciting. So thank you for coming here, KiKi. And we know with your podcast and all the success that I love tuning into what y'all have going on. So I chose the right person.
Yes, you did. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. So I'm going to just jump right in because I don't like wasting no time. We're not going to do that. So I want to know, what do women want? Because I don't even think we know what we want half the time. And I know men don't know what we want. So in your experience, or just from the podcast, what do you guys talk about? What do you think that women want when it comes to sex?
I think that women want to be pleased. And that seems so simple, but so many people overlook that. It's like I'm constantly on the internet, I'm reading our comments, and people are debating about what women want instead of asking the woman they're sleeping with. Like, you can't make generalizations about things. And I think that women also want to be able to be unapologetically themselves and be able to express their desires and what will pleasure them without somebody shaming them or telling them only certain girls do those things, or what kind of person would be into that. Something's wrong with you. If you're an adult, you're consenting, it's okay. And I think that I want women to want to explore their sexuality more, because you can have fun with it.
So why are people not asking what people want?
I don't know if it's because nobody likes to seem like they don't know. You know how, like, even when we were younger and nobody really knew what they were doing. The men didn't know, well, the boys didn't know what they were doing and the girls didn't know what they were doing. But everybody wants to act like their sex is the best.
Right.
They know they have this move, they have all of these things. And you might learn a few moves along the way that are pretty much crowd pleasers, you know? But I think that nobody likes to ask. They get embarrassed. They get shy. I think that people also start to feel a little bit of reluctance when it comes to sharing anything that's outside of the norm. They don't know if this person is going to reject them. They don't know if they're just going to judge them. They don't know if they're about to be the topic of the group chat or what. So it's just so many different things. But I think that as you start exploring and listening to conversations like what we're having and seeing that, hey, you're not alone. Somebody else is into that. It's something about the comfort of a group, or the comfort of somebody else is going through what I'm going through. Somebody else wants what I want, that makes people feel better about the desires. Like, even with starting Cocktales, I felt like a lot of my friends were very judgy. They were very prude, and whenever I would ask them about certain things, or had they tried certain things, or had they heard of this, and to me it's really nothing outlandish. It's very basic level. Now that I've been in this for a while and I hear about the things that people are doing, it's like they were tripping off of something so little. But I think that it's hard to find other people who think like you. And so I know that I'm not the only person. And my co-host, Medina, she has been my friend since high school. And we used to always have those conversations at the football games. We were cheerleaders. We'd be over there talking about sex and talking about different boys and all of that fun stuff. But it would be us, and then everybody else is just listening. And it's like, okay, now y'all can't be that curious. I'm getting all my information from Cosmo, and she's really not doing that much. But I liked how we found each other.
Yeah.
And I knew that there were more women out there like us who could relate. And now it's like men are listening. So I think that people are getting to be more curious about the conversations that women are having, because they're not having them with their partners. And so I like that people are trying to learn, but I don't know how we're going to get over it.
Are women even still having these conversations? Because I feel like in high school, me and my friends were at the lunch table. We talked about it here and there because everybody's like losing their virginity one by one. But as you get older, your partner might be like, well, don't be telling your friends about my business. And then sometimes you got to look out for people. If I'm telling you something's too good over here, now I got to look over my shoulder.
Jealousy.
If you come around my man, like, I don't know what your intentions are. Are women still talking the same?
Yes and no. I would say it's more on a one-on-one basis. It's smaller. It's not like, okay, everybody get your popcorn. I'm about to have tea time, and I'm going to tell y'all what I did last night. That's not happening. But sometimes you'll know the friend in the group that's a little bit more open-minded, whether she's done it or not, and you'll go to her and ask her. Or it's always me in my friend group. So this happens a lot, and I don't know if it's the show, or I don't know if I've just always been the girl to go to. But people will ask me, you know, my boyfriend asked me to do this. What is this? Or he asked me to go here. What do you think about this? Have you ever done this? How do you feel about trying toys? What are the best toys? So many questions. So they are still having the conversations, but I think we're a lot more careful about who we share those intimate moments with and those questions with, because you're right. You don't know if somebody's trying to get a taste of what you got, and then you'll be fighting, and that's a whole mess.
Going back to communicating what we want in the bedroom, how do you advocate for yourself? Because I feel like with some men that I've dated, I don't know if what I would say was advocating or even communicating. I feel like I try to slide things in, but for some reason, it wasn't that I felt uncomfortable expressing my needs to my partner. I think it's just more like, I don't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah, but you're having sex. Don't you want to have pleasure?
Yeah.
So why would you spare his feelings?
You know what it is?
And you're hurting yourself.
I think I care more about making sure that he has a reason to walk away like, damn, she did that, versus me walking away feeling like, damn, he didn't do that. Because I feel like guys really be in their group chats more than girls are. And I'll be damn if you go back to one of your friends like, man, it wasn't hitting like that. She all fine and stuff on Instagram, but that ain't it.
Yeah. I mean, that definitely happens. I don't know. I think that you have to find some balance. Like, yeah, you can kind of guide him. And I've been there too. Too shy to tell somebody, I don't like it when you do that. Or I want you to do this more. You do have to juggle it, because they can be very sensitive. They'll be crying for 2 weeks, whether they want to admit it or not, because you don't hurt their little feelings because they weren't pleasing you. But I do think that if it's somebody that you're being intimate with, that you have an actual connection with, this is not just like a fling type of thing, but somebody that you're really with or that you're interested in, they want to please you too.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be talked about bad either. And they don't want you to walk away like, ooh, that was whack, not calling him again, you know? So I think that a good way to do it is to just do words of encouragement. Like, if he does do something that you like, and if he's not finding out that thing that you like just by you guiding him, you're going to have to tell him, I want you to do this. And you can just say one thing at a time. And then when he does it the right way, it's kind of like a dog. Like, good boy. You know, you gotta give him something to let him know that you like it. And then, I don't know, play dead. When you're not feeling anything, it's just like, thinking about my grocery list, you know?
You know what I don't like is if I'm intimate with someone and you can hear I'm reacting to you in a way where it's like, this is it. I like that. And then you switch up and you do something different. If I told you, yeah, that's it, why are we changing?
You know, now I can't speak for men. I'm not trying to speak for them. But what I've heard in my own experiences, they felt the same way and they didn't want it to end. They didn't want to finish. So they need to reposition really quick. And like,
that's selfish as fuck.
Is it?
Yes.
I mean, yes and no, because either way it's about to stop. So either he's going to switch positions so he can try to last longer and then go back to that, or it's about to be finished.
The reason why I feel like that's selfish is because women, I feel, can climax 4 or 5 times during sex and we can still go. For men, once you nut, that's it.
Right. That's why I'm saying if he felt like it was feeling too good and he was about to nut, he might need to stop and reposition, even though it felt really good to you. But he needs to reposition so he can regain. Now, that's the only thing I've heard. I don't know if that man was lying to me or not, but that's what I've been told. Otherwise, it is really selfish if it's just like you're trying to deprive me. But some people are into that sort of thing.
Oh, God. Has there ever been a time where a man has communicated something to you during sex and you were like, okay, how do I take that? How do I reassess?
Yes. The first time this happened to me, I was having sex with this guy and he was scared to tell me what he wanted because he was whispering. And he was trying to like hide his whisper within a moan. And he was like, oh, and I was like, what? What are you saying? And like, I'm on top of him. And so I'm like, what are you saying? Like, speak up. And I'm like, why is he acting like a little fairy right now? Like, say it with your chest. What are you telling me to do? He wanted me to pee on him.
Oh,
and so
that's a thing.
Yeah. And so I was like, huh? And he said it again. And I said, well, in my head, I'm like, well, I do need to pee. And this is not my bed. I hope he has a waterproof mattress protector. And I did it. Now, that's not something I'm into. I don't like it. I didn't really understand it. And I'll be honest, I was looking at him a little different. Like, you really just wanted me to pee on you, and you just laid here, and like that turned you on.
I've been hearing
this
this
is not
a
a
lot.
match. A lot of people are into it. A lot of people are into it. Now, a lot of people will do it in the shower. That's better. But I don't know if it's just like having this warm liquid on your body, but I don't like it.
Is that like the kinkiest thing that a man has asked you to do?
Pee on him. The same man asked me, can I cuss?
You'll say whatever's in your heart.
I'm like concentrating, trying not to cuss too much. He asked me to lick his ass. And again, I was like, well, I thought about it, right? And this happened after. So even though I said it wasn't a match, I still went back for some more. So just to be sure. And I was sure it wasn't after this. So he asked me to do that. So I'm making my way downtown, and he was not prepared. And when I say he was
so he just wanted to try it out on you.
No, he wanted me to do it to him. And so when I got down there, I'm saying he wasn't prepared because it was a little smelly and I could see the hairs. And I'm like, did you not freshly wash your body beforehand?
Has to be upkeep.
Because it was like you came from the shower. So are you one of those guys who like is too scared to really dig up there and wipe your ass?
What are y'all doing when y'all get in the shower? I'm asking our Women of TmrO production.
You got to get all up in that thing.
Y'all lying because y'all don't want us to talk about you on this podcast, but that's okay.
And then I was ashamed of myself because I was like, well, what was I thinking before I even got here? Like, ooh, what a time. But yeah, I think those are probably what I would consider the kinkiest and out of the norm. I haven't really met a lot of guys who are very open about sharing their desires. Now, there are random people on the internet who will write me messages. I'll never forget a guy emailed me and asked me if I was interested in allowing him to be my toilet slave. And
what is that?
Exactly my question. And he put it all in one email. I'm so glad. So I never had to reply. And he added a video. So basically, you know, like if you were, I don't know what they're called, but it's like a portable potty. Not a porta potty, but the kind that maybe a sick person or an injured person would have so that they don't have to sit down low on the toilet. So there's one of those. And instead of having that, it's the kind that sit over the toilet. So it's a hole. There's no like bedpan in there. He would lay under there and I would sit on there and do my business.
Whatever happened.
And he sent me a video of him being someone's toilet slave. And he was underneath on like a puppy pad type of thing. He was underneath and somebody was doing number 2 on him. Now, I can probably search in my email. I never deleted the email.
What's up with y'all?
The people are into a lot of things. And then I found out, you know, that goes under the category of scat play. And there's a lot of people who are into shit.
And scat play? What is
scat play?
Scat
like
play.
SCAT. That's what they call it when it's poop. The people are into kinky things, and they always tell us operating in this sex positive space not to kink shame. But I have to remind them, I am still a woman from the South, and it's going to take a while for me to get super progressive, but I'm on my way, and I can listen to it, and I don't have to make a face should anybody ask me that, but I will politely decline because I am aware of what it is, and there are some hard no's that I have.
Yeah. Okay. What are the hard no's?
That. If somebody asked me to pee on them again, I would do it, but it needs to be in the shower. But you can't pee on me.
You cannot pee on me.
I'm not into that. What's another thing? I would not want to have sex with a man and another man. Okay. One man is enough. Yeah. I'm going to get tired anyway. I think that's what comes to the top of my head. I mean, there's so many things I would not do. I'm pretty vanilla when it comes to sexual things, and I learned that more and more. There's just so much out there that people are into. They dress up like stuffed animals. They're into like mutilation and stuff, I do a segment on our show called Weird Sex. And sometimes we explore crimes and that people commit. And then sometimes we explore different kinks or freak accidents that happen. And this guy had, there's a technique called sounding. And men are basically putting something in their urethra to like spread it out.
Oh, it sounds
kind of
cool.
like gauging your ears. If you've never heard of this, that's how you could imagine it. And they put different things in there. And this man, I forgot what country, but it's somewhere in Asia, he got a jump rope in there, and he was putting a jump rope in there. And it's because there's all of these nerve endings that are in there, and some people find pleasure in it because, you know, some people find pleasure in pain. I have zero experience in that because I don't like any pain at all. Like, if I stub my toe, I might cry.
Right.
So, but people are into some interesting things. I have to be careful. Like, I have a lot of hard nose.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you're shocked. I'm telling you, it's so much out there that people don't even think of. And a lot of times I found that when people ask stuff, they're really talking about like, some guys are into the peeing thing. They want to know, can you make a sex tape? They want to know about threesomes. They want to know about stuff like that, which in the grand scheme of things, I think that's at the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm a prude. I think, you know what? I was a late bloomer.
Okay.
So despite what a lot of people might think, I was like the last of all of my friends to lose my virginity. Like, I lost my virginity when I was like borderline 18 years old. Like,
Okay, yeah, I was late 17 too. And my friends, most of my friends had already done it.
Like, I had friends freshman year of high school. We were 13, 14 years old, and some of my friends were already doing anal.
Oh.
Yeah. They was moving along.
Now, were they doing anal because they felt like doing anal and not vaginal would keep them a virgin?
I don't think it was that. One person that I am thinking of particular, and God, I hope she doesn't see this episode. We were freshmen and she was dating a senior. And I think he was just super advanced and just trying to turn out the young girl. So he had her trying a little bit of everything. And she was just cool with it because at that age, you're discovering yourself. You're still finding your voice. You really don't know how to tell people no. And so I think it wasn't really something that she was even okay with or into. I think she just wanted to make him happy because you're the only freshman dating a senior. That's cool. So she didn't want to lose him type situation.
Yeah, that happens a lot. A lot of times women are afraid to say no. And, you know, it's different when you're 16, 17, or 13, 14. And you get older and you find yourself and you find your voice and you become more comfortable. But there are so many women who never really get comfortable and they feel like they have to do all of the things to please a man. And I constantly like to tell women, you don't. You should do what you feel comfortable with. And if it's a deal breaker for a person that you're not into something sexual that they are, well, break the deal because they're putting that above everything else with you. Why would you accept that just to say that you have a man? I don't have a man, and it's really not that bad. I complain sometimes, but it's really not that bad. But it's like you really want to be with somebody. Anal, I've tried it. It hurts. I must have been drunk that day because that was not a sober thought. But I tried it. It hurt. It didn't work for me. Like, it couldn't go in there.
I don't see it happening.
I laid there like a starfish. I thought I was going to be paralyzed. I was like, oh, my God, when I go to the hospital, like, what are they going to tell my mom? And I was old, like 30. Yeah, like, I'm a grown woman, but I'm like, I'm going to be stuck. And somebody's going to have to explain it to my next of kin, and that's her. And I'm ashamed. But I think that doing sexual things to keep your partner, whether it's a man doing or a woman doing it does not work because they'll still, if they want to, they will still go and get it elsewhere.
Yep.
And you have got to learn to put your foot down if you don't want something. Now, some people have told me don't be like this, but I feel like you have to ask yourself too, if somebody is asking you to try something, you can absolutely just say no. This isn't a conversation that you need to have with the other person. But ask yourself, too, why is it that I don't want to do it? Is it because you think it makes you a dirty girl? Because you're really curious, but you think it'll make you dirty, or you think nobody else will want you, or something's wrong with you, or it's perverted or whatever. If it's really about something like that, some societal standards that you don't really care about, you just don't want to be the victim of the judgment, maybe you could open your mind. But if it's something you really don't want to do, don't do it. But either way, whatever reason it is that you don't want to do it, if the answer is no, it is no. But I do encourage people to try to open your mind a little bit, because why is it that you don't want to try certain things? Do you think that it's literally disgusting and you might have E. coli? That's a valid reason. But if you don't even know, I mean, those are questions to have with yourself as you try to open your mind and grow. And that's with anything, not just sex.
Yeah. So I want to know, what is like the new thing these days? Because people talk a lot about, I guess, like roles in the bedroom. If you're like submissive, if you're a dominatrix, what is the thing? Because I don't know.
The new thing, I'm not really sure what the new thing is. I think the new thing is just being more open and exploring different things. So like dom and subculture, I've learned about that. It's a part of the BDSM community. So there are people who have real roles. They really get into it. And it's like there's all these rules and stuff. I did a quiz. There was a guy who came. He's a dom. And he did an episode of our show. And he was telling us that he has this quiz. And he does those freaky massages. But he does other stuff too. And he was explaining, like, some people think that they're really into a lot of stuff. And they're not. So I have them do a quiz. So I know what type of experience to give them, and then it'll tell you at the end of the quiz, like, how vanilla are you, how kinky are you. I was very vanilla. But I think that people are curious, and I think that the more that they see it, the more they're like, maybe it's not so weird, maybe it's not so crazy. I think that a lot of women in particular have been interested in financial domination. They call it findom. So there's been a lot of ladies online who will share these experiences, and basically they meet these guys who are into this, and the guys basically get off by spending their money on these women or just giving them money. And it doesn't even have to be like an actual sexual favor exchange. It just really turns them on. So they might just send you some money, or you might have a date and you're meeting at the ATM to get money, and you go on about your day. Or some people like to be humiliated, so they send you money sometimes. Because usually these women are charging for it. They're not getting money dates. But they might charge you for you to call them and belittle them. There's so many different things. I guess now that I say all of this, I think the new thing is sex work. And a lot of people are really sharing their experiences of doing it. OnlyFans made a killing during the beginning of the pandemic. And a lot of people were getting on there for various reasons. But everybody on OnlyFans is not doing sex work, but a lot of it is.
Yeah.
And I think that people were sharing their experiences more. They're posting TikToks about how much money they're making, and that makes people excited. But the reality is all these people are not making money. And you have to be really committed, and it's a lot of work. And then they also don't talk about the other side.
Right. How dangerous it can be.
How dangerous it can be, what happens when you don't get paid, or like how you end up really feeling about yourself later. Not to say that all these women feel bad, but we have had people who share those stories. And then we've also had a lot of times where people come in with stuff like that, and months later, now they're making a change in their life and they want us to delete the episode. Well, no, hun.
Right.
We're not deleting the episode.
We saw you.
But I support whatever it is you're trying to do in your future now. And that's it. But I think a lot of people are into that. A lot of people are into the the dom and subculture. I don't think they really know.
Yeah.
People aren't really sure. They just want to get bossed around. It's like, I mean, that's cute, entry level, but it's a lot more to it. And I think also people have been exploring more. Trying to think of what people write in on the show about. A lot of people are asking about threesomes. How to get them? How do they work? I think that threesomes are fine if everybody actually wants to do it. And I think that so often it's the guy is in a relationship with a girl and he's convincing the girl to do the threesome, or the girl feels like, oh, my man has been such a good man, I don't know what to give him, I think he deserves a threesome. He said this was his fantasy, but do you like it?
Right.
Because when you get in there and it's you, him, and another woman, if you know that you're a jealous person, this is not the activity for you. If you know that you're going to be comparing how much attention he's giving her versus you, or the thing he did to her that he didn't do to you, or who he finishes with. If that's going to be a thing. I mean, you can talk about all of that ahead of time, but we all know how sex goes. And now you add another personality, another body in it. You just have to be, I don't advise it for people who don't actually want it themselves. If it wasn't your idea or if it wasn't a fantasy or desire in the back of your head, don't do it.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to stress you out, and then you're going to be writing into our advice segment. And so many people write in, they want to know like how to do it. We have questions at our live shows. People want to know how to do it, how to find somebody, or how to convince their partner. I'm like, half of y'all really just should hire somebody because you don't care about either of the other people in this. And that's always an option too. Dangerous, but an option. All of it's dangerous. You have to be careful.
But an option.
Yeah.
I've never had a threesome.
Uh-huh.
I don't see myself ever having a threesome for two main reasons.
Okay.
One, I truthfully believe that once you introduce a certain thing to your relationship, you develop an appetite for it. And so, particularly when I'm thinking about like marriage and stuff, I feel like if I was going to do threesomes, that's something I should have done like in college where it was kind of okay for you to be a hoe. Nobody really cared or whatever. And like you could do something strange and explore, see what you like and stuff. And even the people who you thought you were in love with and you can marry, probably not. That's when I should have done it. Now, as I'm dating for marriage, whatever that looks like, whatever it's supposed to be, no, because if I have a threesome with you now, when we get married, I'm not bringing that into my marriage.
Why not? If you would do it before, what's the change?
Oh, I feel like God is really going to be mad at me.
Oh.
That's for one. But two, I just really feel like it would develop an appetite. Like, I don't see myself, maybe at one point I was like, oh, if I did it, it would be for like his birthday, maybe when he turned 30.
So as a
gift.
Like,
yeah, it would be
because you never really wanted to do it.
Yeah, a Christmas thing, Martin Luther King Day. I don't know. But like
Martin Luther King Day.
But then with that, I feel like if I give my man a threesome, afterwards he's gonna be like, that was kind of lit. She showed out, the other girl showed out. I want this. Now my man is gonna be thinking this is a regular routine. It's a part of our sex life. When in reality, I did it because we was just in the Bahamas on the balcony and I was feeling a little funky. Like, but men don't see things that way. You do something once, you have to keep doing it. That's why I don't cook for men, because I'm not gonna keep doing it.
I mean, yeah, but I think women can be the same way. You did this once. You used to always show up with flowers. Where are my flowers? You used to always send me lunch on Fridays. Where's my lunch? I'm hungry. And what you said was if you give your man a threesome, I think for anybody who looks at it that way, do not do it.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking about it as a gift, as giving somebody something, as if you're not a participant. Because it's not all about the man, and however you do the threesome, if it's two men plus you or another woman and another man, and that way, like, these are three people who should be interacting and pleasing each other. And yeah, if you invite it into your marriage, it's possible that you guys will want to do it again, or one person will want to do it again, which is all the more reason you should actually be interested in it. But you should talk to the person, because it's like, if you've never done it and you're thinking about doing it and you decide to go through with it, before that day comes, you should let them know, like, I want to try this. Yeah. But if I don't like it, I need you to respect that I'm not doing it again. So I'll let you know. We'll have a post-game meeting and we'll talk about it and see how we feel. But some people do it in their marriage. I have some friends, they're married. And they do it sometimes.
Oh, I have plenty of friends that do it in their marriage.
Yeah, and the thing about them, though, is they did it before they were married. They've done it after they've been married, and they both wanted to do it. It wasn't like one or the other. And so when they haven't done it in a long time, it's not a big deal. It is something that they are open to, but it's like, oh, it's not a big deal. We would like to do it again, but it doesn't matter, because for them, it's just about that extra bit of pleasure that they get when they're together.
See, that takes a lot of maturity and communication and understanding. And I think for the average relationship that I see these days, people already struggle with those three pillars in their relationship.
I agree.
So trying to have a threesome, it's like not gonna happen for them. For me, my fear is that I think most men use threesomes as like a small way to like get what they really want. Like a lot of men are just dead ass just trying to cheat.
Okay.
And then other men are really trying to tease the threesome as a way to eventually like have multiple girlfriends and be okay with it. Because like if it was a thing where a man is just telling a woman, hey, this is really just a kink of mine. Whether she's pretty, like a nice girl, whatever, I don't care beyond this. Like after I shake my dick, we're good. But most men, I feel like they want a threesome. It will continually be a thing. And then after some time, you come home and your man is on a date with the woman that y'all been having threesomes with.
I mean, that could happen, but honestly, I don't think it's that common that it goes down that way. Because if he wants to cheat on her, he's gonna cheat. Whether you tell him he can have a threesome or not. If he wants to have sex with this other girl that he found attractive, the harsh truth is men are gonna do what they want to do. And if he wanted to have sex with somebody else, he's gonna do it anyway. So I think the whole cheating thing, you kind of gotta, and also know your partner. Because you will know them better than me. I don't even know who I'm talking to right now, But I think a lot of times women are fearful of that. And not to say that it couldn't happen, but I think more often than not, it's not just that. And I think that from what they've shared with me, a lot of times it's just having two women do something for them is just extra. And not that he necessarily wants to run off with that girl. Because also, what's stopping him? You have to ask yourself that.
Like, why is one woman not enough for you? Most of y'all don't even know what to do with one woman, let alone two.
And then I think a lot of guys, they have a fantasy of a threesome, but it's really a fantasy. Like, it's that thing you'll never really do because sometimes you can't keep up.
Yeah.
It can be a lot.
Some of y'all are literally 10 minutes with just one woman. And if it's two women, like...
It might be like sensory overload.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, but I think also... not just thinking about it like two women pleasing a man. I think some men like to see the women interact. I think a lot of women are actually into women, or they're curious about women. So they want to try it and they feel a little bit more comfortable if their man is there. Or they have, like, it's like you got a friend to hold your hand, kind of, and they're curious. They want to try it, whether they do it again or not.
See, I'm a very territorial physical lover. If I was to be with a woman, then I have to be with that woman. If I'm with a man, I have to be with him. But the second I see either one of y'all doing something with each other, I'm slapping both of you. Yeah,
see, again, you are not a good candidate for a threesome.
At all.
Not at all. Could you imagine? And you're already in such a vulnerable position, no clothes.
And now I got to slap.
Where's your keys? Like, like imagine that. That would just be awful. Yeah. So if you're considering, not you, but anyone who may be listening, watching, if you're considering, you need to ask yourself those things because you do not want to be that girl. You also don't want to be the girl who's crying in the middle of it. And
then how do we figure out the rules? Because there has to be rules here. Come on, y'all.
You have to, to have a successful threesome, you have to be sexually mature. In the mind. And you need to, first of all, you have to establish that you actually want to participate. And then once you establish that you're actually down for this, you should ask yourself, what do you feel comfortable with? What are you willing to try? Do you really just want to be a pillow princess and everybody do the things to you and you don't have to do any work? Because that's an option for some people. Do you actually want to interact with the other woman? And does the other woman feel like she wants to do that too? You need to figure that out. And you just have to get with people who are on the same page. There are no strict rules to a threesome. You have to communicate with the people that you're with. And some people think it's corny to like have these conversations, but I'd rather have a corny, awkward conversation beforehand than to be fighting with my boobs out. So
for sure. I feel like after you participate in certain activities like that, it could really start to affect your psyche and how you feel about yourself, or maybe even the confidence that you have in your relationship. Do you think that that's a thing, or do you have some of the people that call into your podcast for advice? Have they ever explained to you how like some of the kinks have actually turned out to be like toxic habits and it's weighed on them mentally?
Not so much toxic habits. There have been times when people have had threesomes and they realize that they were like a married couple had a threesome, and they were doing it for a while, and then the wife actually realized she didn't like her husband that much and she wanted to be with the other woman. So it wasn't even that her man was cheating, she was ready to cheat. So there's that risk factor. It's not always the man who does it, and the man was sad and she was trying to figure out if she should get a divorce or not, and we were like, whoo, you need to talk to a real therapist. We are telling jokes. But that happens. I think that people question their confidence. They do, like the things that you said, like, oh, what are you doing to her? You're giving her too much attention. I'm getting jealous. I'm being left out. That definitely happens. It definitely messes with people's confidence. But that's all the more reason I say you have to be a willing participant. Yeah. Don't do it for a gift if you're not really into it, if you have no desire to participate. You also don't have to have a threesome where you are interacting with the other woman. It's usually the women who are fearful of threesomes, and that's why I'm directing it this way. But you don't have to always do that, but you need to have that conversation, and the other woman should be aware.
So what do you do? Because that sounds boring.
Well, I don't know. I've never done that. But I think that you would just... I have a story. So I know some girls who did it this way. They both had sex with a guy, but they didn't really interact with each other. But what they did was when he was having sex with one of them, she might be holding her leg or encouraging her or just saying nice things or saying, you look so beautiful, or let me hold your leg so that you can get in this better position, or things like that. But you don't actually have to do any services with them. You're not actually making out with them or any of that. I think that it can, but it also, on the flip side, it's not all bad. You could awaken something in yourself that makes you feel more confident. Yeah. You could feel less shy in the bedroom. I know that a lot of times women can be very self-conscious about how we look when we are totally naked. Does he see that roll? Is he staring at my belly? Is my butt looking flat? Like, are my breasts hanging on the side of my body and they're no longer on my chest? Like, what's going on? Is he staring at stretch marks? There's all of these things, and I know that a lot of times women are more aware of that too. And they may do a better job of making you feel more comfortable, more at ease, because we know what we like, we know what we want. And as long as you always remember to do that for somebody else, that's always a great starting point to figuring out another person. I think that women tend to be more gentle, not always, but a lot of times they tend to be more gentle. And just like you said earlier, I don't want to hurt his feelings.
Yeah.
Women feel that way a lot, right? It's very common. They're going to feel that way with the other woman too. So you might actually end up with a confidence booster, or like, wow, I really did that. Or to know that you tried something new. It is a good feeling when you try anything new and you enjoy it. Yeah. Sexual or not. I think that sometimes we, in the back of our head, we're scared of what other people think, or what kind of person that makes you, or is somebody going to label you a hoe or whatever. But it's like, you're a woman, and sadly somebody's going to call you a hoe at some point in your life, whether you really did anything that any of us would deem hoe behavior or not. So we've got to all work together to get out of worrying about everybody else's thoughts, because you have one life and you need to live it for yourself. Like, you don't want to spend your whole life trying to appease other people, especially when it comes to sex. That is literally your personal pleasure.
Yeah. You're very, very mature
when
it comes to this. How long did it take you to get to this place?
I guess I would say somewhere in my 20s, actually. So before I ever had sex, I used to always read Cosmo magazine. Yeah. I was addicted. I would go straight to the sex section, and I was reading all about it and reading these different women's experiences. And I'm a bit of a nerd, if you guys can't tell. And I just used to love to read up on anything that I didn't know about or that I had an experience. And I really just wanted to have sex for the first time to see what all the fuss was about in the magazines and in the books. And why is this a thing that drives people crazy? It's in the movies. There's so much passion. What is this? What does it feel like? Is it really what it's cracked up to be? And so I think that I've always had an open mind about it. I have gotten more comfortable over the years with expressing my open mind. I used to just keep it inside, but eventually I just kind of was like, so what? I'm tired of living for other people. It doesn't feel good. It's making me tense right here.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to make everybody happy. And once I realized that and started doing more things for me and living my life on my own terms and seeking pleasure how I wanted it, and just anybody who had anything negative to say could get out of my way, it was such a sense of relief and a sense of peace. And it's like I can listen to people talk about things that they're into or not into, and I can listen to the things that they say about other people, and it's like whether I've done the things or not, I don't care. This is somebody else's opinion. It's not an attack on me, and I'm still going to do what I want to do. You know, it just becoming more aware of myself and aware of what I really want and what I want for me versus what I thought other people thought I should do. Just coming into that has really helped me to get to this space.
That's crazy.
Isn't it?
I'm
Because
so
I
happy
come
for
from
you.
a very Southern family. Like, I'm from Louisiana. My grandpa is a preacher.
Oh, God.
Very conservative. Like, even with the show that I do now, I was... my mom came to one. I was so nervous. And then it's like my grandma is on Instagram commenting on the clips. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so
What
embarrassing.
are they saying?
She's usually leaving fire emojis or asking what that means. Or she called me one day because she thought that somebody was being shady. She's clapping back at people in the comments. My grandma is about to be 80 and she does not care. They're in there, and I was afraid that they wouldn't be supportive. I was afraid that they would definitely judge me. And I mean, some of them do, but not everybody. And I think who I was most concerned about is my grandpa. I told him that the podcast is kind of like radio but TV. He's blind. It's kind of like radio but TV, and you got to catch it live, and it's during your dialysis, so you'll never be able to catch it. Sorry, because I really just can't handle him hearing it. But my grandma, she watches the clips and she's like, I sneak and listen sometimes. I think it's funny, and I just tell them all of these stories are made up.
Do you think that your confidence in you, just like as a sexually liberated woman or someone who's just comfortable just talking about their own experiences, do you think like that's boosted your confidence generally as a woman, or do you think just your general experience as a woman has boosted your confidence when it comes to sex conversations?
I think my sexual confidence has boosted my overall confidence, like feeling liberated, because that's the thing that's like, with women specifically, that's the thing that's supposed to be this thing that you don't share with anybody. This thing that you don't really talk about. You're supposed to be a virgin until you're married, even though it's 2023 and we don't be getting married. Yeah. Like, it's just, I think it has helped me to be more confident. It makes me feel freer. And I feel like if I can be open with myself about that and not hold back with that, I can be open with other things.
Yeah. Before we close, if there's any like final note or advice that you could give to women or men about their sexual liberations, about their confidence in the bedroom or outside of the bedroom, and how that experience interchanges with their daily lives, how they feel about themselves, how it affects their mental health, and how they just go about navigating relationships and choosing sexual partners, what would be the advice that you could give to people?
I would say, first of all, I think you got to start with like convincing yourself that you believe that you're this confident, beautiful person inside and out. And sometimes you are going to have to stand in the mirror and lie to yourself if you're not there yet. And as corny as it may sound, I suggest people get completely naked, stand in front of the mirror, really look at your body and really take it in. If you can't stand to take it in, how can you ever be comfortable for somebody else to take it in?
Yeah.
And once you're comfortable with that and who you are, that's who you are stripped down. You're going to start to believe the things that you're saying. You're going to start to appreciate the things that your body does and its purpose, and it's keeping you alive. You're going to stop hating looking at it, no matter how it looks, or you're going to make the changes to get to where you want to look physically, and you're telling yourself positive things, not just about how you look though, but about who you are and where you want to go. And that's going to help you. And when you're more confident, you stop settling and you stop accepting less in all of your relationships, friendships, work, romantic, all of that. And again, I've said it so many times today, but I really want people to remember, man or woman, whoever you're with, stop doing things just for the other person.
Yeah.
You should find some pleasure in anything sexual, and it's whatever you're doing is not going to keep that person Nobody can be kept who doesn't want to be kept. So just be you and be your most confident, authentic self. And that is what is more attractive than anything else.
There it is, y'all. Thank you so much, KiKi.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Yay, we'll do it again.
Yes.